Day 2, I'm Helium, and welcome back. Blaze, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Excited for China Dota in general. I mean, obviously, Starladder brings some interesting playstyles from all around the world, but here we're focusing today on what is considered one of the bigger scenes right now. Obviously, Newbee took TI4. They're now slightly shuffled in their roster without
Just
Director
one.
HO right there, but yeah, I don't know. It's one single player, but it has changed how the team works a lot, I think, because when it comes down to like what we saw from them in WEC, it isn't the same team. Rabbit, he obviously is worth every penny of the massive trade value that he got for that shift, but even still, despite being an individually skilled player, the Newbie just doesn't have its heart. It doesn't have its soul as far as its direction, as far as its movement, and it still needs to kind of find somebody that's going to be able to step up and take that captain's role. So we'll see exactly if they're going to be displaying that to great effect here, or if it's just going to come down to pub Dota a little bit. I mean, like you said, these are pretty flavor of the month picks you're going to see in any pub, in any captain's mode game that allows them to slip through. So although it might be a little cut and dry, it's still going to be an interesting game here. Light gaming is an unknown factor, generally speaking. They looked pretty good in the one game that I've cast of them, but yeah, as far as like consistently picking off tier one teams and making upsets happen there, I'm not so sure. Super is not obviously the same one that plays for Vici Gaming. There are two individuals with the screen name Super that are Dota 2 professional players in China. I know it's confusing, but even more confusing might be the other names, the XDD,
All the
XTT,
letters and
XC.
numbers.
Oh boy! But I've seen some of their play here. Obviously, they've played other rosters before. I've seen XTT, I've seen 5400, and I like their playstyle in general. But we'll have to see if it's on par with what Newbie bring.
Yeah, indeed we will. And I was just about to say, they got Razor. They're going to get doubled down for the Viper as well. I mean, they definitely do. So Razor, Viper.
Down
We'll
to
see which
4 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, they were really deciding. They're like, do we want to do this? So yeah, Razor Viper. It's definitely going to go a long way in terms of making sure Void doesn't get out of control, picking off your core heroes. I mean, Razor isn't the easiest to bring down, although this game he might not be starting off with the mech. Viper maybe going to go for that. It's up in the air. It's really what they want to do. But I would generally say Viper gets the mech, Razor maybe goes phase drums into Ags, trying to get the auras up, and of course the pushing onto the buildings with his Aghanim Scepter, Eye of the Storm, as some more bands are coming out here. And as you mentioned, the World Esports Championships, WEC, Newbee probably didn't do as well as they like. They got Rabbit in, also captaining the team right now and trying to find their groove, but, I mean, second place in terms of Chinese teams. I mean, they get fourth overall, but still definitely top tier over in the Chinese scene, which has maybe been hurt a little bit after the TI4 shuffle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you always have to look at this as just an era of experimentation, an era to improve your team for the long haul. This is the beginning of the new Dota year, and really, although there is probably going to be a significant break around the Chinese New Year's for Chinese teams, they still want to take this as kind of recalibration period too. So if they just want to, try new strategies, find new ways to make things work for the team, and not take the games 100% seriously in high pressure, then I think that might be better for them than anything else. Because long term, it's about how the team operates as a whole unit, and if you're looking to win Dota 2 over the next year, you're gonna have to work out the kinks while you can. Anyways, some interesting follow-up picks here. A lot of push momentum behind the Jakiro. But Newbie going with an Invoker and a Sand King here is actually pretty interesting. Both these heroes in their current roles are actually pretty greedy. Invoker needs a decent amount of experience to get going. He can do okay after a few levels, but he really would like to be like around level 10, 12 when the fights start breaking out. And Sand King, although of course we have seen he certainly can be active, get boots, get burrow strikes, try to make things happen, he definitely also prefers to just tone it down a notch. Go into his jungle, stack and farm, and find that blink dagger at a good timing. So we'll see if Light Gaming give him the space to do that, but just based on the draft alone, it seems like Newbie will be pretty hard-pressed.
Yeah, we've seen, as I call it, the twin-headed dragon and Drake strategy here as, Viper, Nether Drake, at least he was in previous editions of Dota. But here you go. You got the Nether Toxin for the half damage on creeps and buildings, the Liquid Fire here coming out for Jakiro, and it's really good early tower push. The damage is pretty unreal, and maybe we even see LAI Gaming go with the last pick Dragonite. I mean, the double Dragon Drake strat is incredibly strong in terms of pushing towers. And like you said, Invoker wants to get his levels up before he fights. Sand King wants to find a Blink Dagger. And like you said as well, you can get the Sand King boots early on. Skywrath has that concussive blast, so that's going to definitely help for closing any gaps, some early kills, but you're ganking into Invoker, who's got that nerfed Cold Snap now. It doesn't do a whole lot. Maybe it's still enough to find the early kills, but, you know, Viper, Razor, not the easiest heroes to bring down. Faceless Void isn't going to do much to you when you gank his lane. Magnus is maybe probably the easier lane to gank. He's at least got the big damage from Shockwave, potential to skewer people further back out of position. So we'll see if Newbee, they want to rotate around early. I think they can, but maybe they do just sit back. Maybe respond to their towers at least. But
Okay,
Nature's Prophet, so a pushing hero. Safe lane Dragonite, not super common, so they'll go with Nature's Prophet, throw him in the off lane.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I expected from LAI Gaming. They had it open, the Centaur and Todd got banned out, so the only offlaner that really pushed the forward momentum out is going to be that Furion pick, and XCT will be running that. But it is going to be Magnus, most likely in the off lane here, though Rabbit is going to be picking it up. Obviously, he was playing a lot of core heroes previously. Is this an aggro try with Void? It is. It's safe lane Magnus. And although solo safe lane on the Dire is really generally favorable, like if you look at the numbers, it's going to be winning out far more often than not. Even still, Faceless Void and aggressive tri-lane seems to have its limitations.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, sure, he's not very fragile, and he's going to be kind of hard to bring down, especially at level 2 with Time Walk and Time Lock. He can be very hard to kill, and we even see Faceless Void obviously just offlane on his own, which I kind of like this, because they can maybe surprise them with this aggressive tri-lane, get an early kill, and then maybe just roll out with supports, and then have your offlane Faceless Void, and just leave him there while Magnus is, well, going to be taking farm priority, I guess. He's not really going to be going for carry items, just going to be looking for that blink, as the Treant does scout out this lane, so they know that something is up on the side of LAI Gaming.
Yeah. Moo will be rotating over to the mid, kind of just screwing with us, hanging down bottom for a little bit, having a cup of coffee with the Faceless Void, but in the end he's just going to go for this null tally start, solo mid versus the Viper. It's not the easiest matchup for him with the early Wraith ban and branches already the Viper has. Just a decent bit more base damage, actually 9 more base damage, and that's not even factoring in the Nether Toxins. So the Invoker is definitely going to have to go for a lot of Exhort here, and where's Hell going? Now this is really discombobulated. They're like going for feints back and forth here. Moo bottom, now mid, Hal going top, and the Void bot. They're reacting very actively to what they've seen across the map so far, but giving Faceless Void the safe lane versus a Nature's Prophet will give him some farm, but you can't... Okay, no, it is just going to be what I thought in the first place, which is off-lane Magnus. They're going for a full rotation, though. Smoke on Banana and on Sansheng, and potentially a First Blood, despite the double damage. Nature's Prophet is still only a hero with 600 HP, and this lane is going to push out very quickly. Still, the Smoke will dispel too quickly. The Observer Ward scouts out Newbee's supports, and they're not going to be finding the kill here.
Yeah, they did smoke up to this position from the bottom lane. XTT looks to be, yeah, he's going to throw out the Trance onto the high ground, make sure that Camp's not being pulled, or just pull it himself. Yeah, that's what he does, pulling with the Trance. Nicely done. Heals one of them off, and looks like they will contest that. The supports now show themselves, even though they were standing under a ward anyways. So they were seen. Now they know that they're seen, at least for sure. And then, yeah, the middle lane, the only lane that didn't really change. It was XZ going up against Moo. Viper versus Invoker pretty much guaranteed, and it will be Rabbit in the off lane. Honestly, there's not much kill potential, I would say, onto Rabbit. I mean, the Fisher doesn't really affect this hero much, and that probably explains the pick.
Oh yeah, right now the Magnus is unassailable unless they get in front of them, and even then they don't want to be scared into the tower, so in this kind of situation they'll be able to harass back Rabbit, but they won't be able to prevent him 100% from farming unless they keep these pulls rolling. Right now, Magnus attempts to kind of contest the jungle a little bit, would prefer to just body block the pull camp entirely, but the Super is just too active with this Liquid Fire and is going to force him back. So he gets all the CS, he denies the entire wave, and this forces Rabbit to just go for some stacking. It's not like they have a good hero to farm up these stacks, but you know, eventually they'll tap into the power.
Empower, yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's still not. I mean, that's still not going to be for like 15-20 minutes. So we'll see. For right now, Rabbit will pick up a nice little haste rune, but yeah, he's just desperate for any experience he can get, which is going to be one full wave coming out as LAI does push it out a little. Anyways, as far as offlane Magnus goes in general, it really he is less vulnerable than he used to be. In the old metagame, when you looked at picking up a Magnus, you would be picking it up into a Rubik, and whenever you start the skewer, you'd just be telekinesis and thrown back into it, canceling out entirely. So the fact that he's up against heroes like Jakiro and Razor is a lot better for him as far as actually getting some time on the lane where he's not just going to be killed off immediately.
Yeah, which means
mid lane. Oh, this is such an easy kill.
Lane. We're gonna have to look for Moo here. He's gonna be in some trouble. We'll throw out a cold snap just to try to use his spell, maybe try to do something, but he will fall XZ. It must have been Moo who was getting aggressive there initially with the Forge Spirit out. I mean, I don't see how XZ could have caught him by that surprise. I got there a little late, but we do see the first.
Yeah, he was out in the middle of the river, so I either just aggressive or mispositioning. You can't go past that line when you're up against a Viper who just has that much slow behind him, so able to execute him down.
Down to the Ancients as XTT now in trouble into the top lane. It was almost a beautiful Fisher there for 5,400, but it's not going to be quite enough. Banana on the Sand King picking up that kill. As mentioned previously, he does go for the early boots. And I was going to say, while that was going on in the middle lane, I was looking at Earthshaker, because the bottom lane, it's just Jakiro zoning out a little bit, Razor farming well, and 5,400 doing what we see Earthshakers do, sort of just looking to go around, disrupt any early aggression from Newbee or just the enemy team in general, while sitting on level 1, picks up just maybe a creep or two of experience there, 31 points into that level 1. But this hero can be very, very powerful at just level 1, and he can find his other levels quickly by turning those team fights and surviving.
Yeah, so another stack coming up from Rabbit, really committing to this, but I really don't feel that they're going to be able to actually take advantage of it for quite some time. We'll see, but yeah, the movement for 5,400 here is actually going to be kind of the quiet killer against Newbee. Like, there's a lot of potential for Earthshaker to disrupt so much activity here. We actually see an Invis-Rune that might be enough to skewer the Viper forward. As far as Radiant Vision, they did not see it. They only know a rune is not bottom lane.
I'm looking for the skewer across with the Invis Magnus. That could be big. He's thinking about it. I think he was even scouting up here, looking for maybe the support sitting on the high ground. Earthshaker, of course, is around, and that's probably who he was looking for. Rabbit looks like he'll be content to just head back bottom, though. And I don't know, man. And power comes out pretty early, I think. Ever since the skewer buff, I mean, you take as many targets with you, there's no longer that limitation. It doesn't scale like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4, 5 anymore. The distance was, I think, increased as well, so I could see putting 2 points in it and then just going for Empower. That's what I've been doing in pubs, but I mean...
No, I definitely think that Empower could be at level 4,
so,
but I don't think that 20% cleave is enough to clear like a stack of Ancients. It's just not going to happen.
Well, house farming well, 26 and 8 there in the top lane, 3rd overall in CS. Razor 31, Viper 26, and Moo really getting harassed out of this lane. 2-1-2 the skill build here for XZ on the Viper, and actually up top quickly XTT rather going to be in some trouble here for LAI Gaming. Nature's Prophet. We've seen a lot of Nature's Prophet deaths today. That I think that makes 16 Ice with 14 of them from last game. Oh, the chrono goes out. Nicely done, this Fisher. What does Void doesn't have to do?
Oh, the pathing just barely.
How do I get out of this?
Walk to the river. Jeez, these Fishers, they're so huge.
Yeah, this is I really like the combo of Earthshaker and Jakiro. I mean, not even just the combo. Either of those heroes against Void is great. Together, it's very, very annoying for the Faceless Void, as we can see why, even there, BKB or not, that Fisher messes up your chrono.
Hard to path around it, hard to really actually stay on the target you prefer, and it is going to be really great, potentially stopping epicenters later. It's going to be messing with the Faceless Void, cutting his Chronosphere in half, and in general, it's just in this early game stance where he can pull back the lane by fishing creeps, or he can just diffuse dangerous situations and prevent deaths by using the Fisher reactively, particularly in the mid lane here. We've seen him camping that a lot. That's why the Magnus did not go for the Invis skewer onto the Viper, as he just would have been Fishered out in a bad position anyways. So now we see again the aggression coming out. The Fisher is in range, but I don't think it's going to be a kill on Moo. They're not even going to bother using the mana. It's just continuous harassment and forcing the Invoker to put more points in claws. Right now only 2, but yeah, he's going to have to continue to go for the Forge Spirit build. He doesn't even have a choice in the matter because of how much darn harassment this Viper puts out.
Yeah, Viper, that was Viper Strike on cooldown there over onto Moo. The second it came up, he just threw it out, looking to try to harass him out of this lane. Maybe chain together a kill if 5,400 can drop a Fisher there, but Moo was just a little too far out there on the Invoker, but, you know, he's doing okay so far. 29 and 11, not the easiest lane to find farm in. 37-16 for that Viper, but now the push into the middle lane. XTTT XTT having taken 2 deaths, to the bottom lane, throws out the treants, liquid fire onto the tower here from Super, and actually we'll have to put our attention back into the mid lane. The Fissure goes out, now trying to TP. No enchant totem yet, has done 2 points in Fissure, and well, there's a small case for going 1-1-1 on Earthshaker. We see some evidence of it there.
Yeah, small, but relevant enough, I suppose. Either way, we're going to see the push down bottom ensue. They need to actually ramp up the pressure, because they have given Sand King and Faceless Void a ton of time to farm. So this is definitely the time that they want to take towers very quickly before the Blink Dagger comes out of Banana. Looks like it's going to be a rotation for the Sand King, pretty much, I would almost say by himself, because the Skywrath can't get anywhere near this Razor.
XCD trying to run away, will get caught in that small choke point there by the Chrono. Concussive shot keeping him in there, and he will fall. So most farmed hero on the map, 57-23. The Razor will take a fall. It's Newbee out ahead, 1 killed, 3-2 at 8 minutes into the game. Viper and Void leading on that net worth currently.
Yeah, obviously the Viper got 1 kill in the laning phase, and the Razor got the last hit on the tower, so they're both going to be doing pretty well here, but that's rotation was enough for Newbee to essentially exit the laning phase with only 1 tower death, and if you're LAI's lineup, you actually wanted to have at least 2 towers in advantage by the time these rotations start happening, because now the Sand King's going to have his Blink Dagger with just 1 more stack and farm. He got a little bit lucky where there was only 1 Mud Golem spawn out of like 6 different medium camps, but now we do see a mid lane, more pressure coming in to the Invoker, but this time XCT is coming in from the side.
And let's see if they can get him Super. It looks like he might be giving up his life for this, but I think he's going to have enough to get the kill there. Yes, he will. No, he's even going to be okay. XCT is going to show up San Sheng. Pretty squishy. He's a little scared. He's up at level 5 as XZ will actually get the kill there with the damage over time on that Invoker. So now sitting at 2-0-0, 48 CS, picking up that Mechanism Aquila Brown Boots at just 9 minutes, which means Phase Midas here on XDD's Razor. Looking to turn that into, I guess, quickly, maybe a BKB Ags, could also be Drums Ags. We'll see what he wants to go for. We've even seen the Ags completely skipped sometimes in these other scenes. We'll just go straight for an AC for the pushing of that aura, as opposed to just getting their push from their ultimate. So up to XDD. Looking forward to what he decides to go for.
Yeah. Interesting skill build coming after the Sand King. At level 5, he had 2 points in Burrow Strike and 3 points in Sandstorm. You only actually need 2 points in Sandstorm to farm up any camps, but the 3 points will make it a little bit faster and give you the shorter cooldown. I don't mind 3 at all, but the problem is it's going to delay either his 4th point in Burrow Strike or his Epicenter. Already level 6 without Epi means that his kill potential is more limited. But maybe they're still going to be able to just go for the Blink Burrow and get in range for their combination of spells. In either case, he isn't at his full potential just yet, but in a couple levels he certainly will be. Smoking up for now, him and Skywrath looking to force the issue on this mid-tier 1, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. And this will be the unveiling of the Blink Dagger, so even without the Epi, you've got a bit of a power curve advantage, if we want to phrase it like that. Just because you've got this Blink Dagger, you've got the potential for a big multi-person or you can hit nobody as Banana jumps in and quickly has to go out of there as the Fissure and the Iron. But you know, it buys at least a little bit of space. Invoker, they're denying that middle tier 1 tower.
Man, I just got the poster child of why we're 3.
There you go. Blaze wins, Helium loses.
Oh well, but no, it's fine. He's still going to be impactful, but imagine if he had Epicenter there. That's an auto double kill. Instead of just a tower denial, you get a couple kills in your favor. Void gets huge, and Mask of Madness would already be up for him. So I'm fine with it, like I said, but I think they could have gotten more, and Dota 2 is a game about optimization. So anyways, on the top lane here, we are going to see the Liquid Fire tick down this tier 1. No way to contest that, and the one thing they can say is that their Fortify will be back up in just a minute's time, so they should try to be able to hold the line with Chronosphere RP and soon to be picked up Epicenter, and they just need a few moments' time before they're able to bring all that to the battlefield here.
Yeah, I thought Banana might go in for 1 more creep camp just so he can get level 7, get that Epi, but maybe he goes in for just the Blink. He can't really chain too many together on the back lines there. He can maybe get Razor and Jakiro together. But he's just nestled on the tree line for now. Looking at the vision of the Radiant, they will now see Banana as he jumps out onto Super. And San Sheng whiffs the Mystic Flick completely. I mean, it would have just killed a Jakiro, but at least they would have killed somebody, starting with the man advantage in this fight. Rabbit being forced rather to skewer away, will still fall to the damage of XZ. Just too much damage right now. Time walking out, but it's not going to be far enough. There's a little bit more mana coming in. Oh, but the two-man burrow will keep the Void alive, and also, oh no, the Fisher 5400 will get him as he goes up to his own high ground, and Banana now in this fire, but is going to die to Corrosive Skin. There's nothing he can do, yeah, and Chance
awesome.
Totem trying to help out, but not even needed. XZ getting the kill there now, dominating 6-3 Invoker. Moo will at least get the middle tier 1 tower for his troubles and find the last hit on it. So Phase Midas, I guess, coming out now for Invoker. Yeah, it's got to be what it is.
But still, that's not a trade. I mean, you're tier 1 for your team.
Yeah, not
losing
really.
your core heroes, including Void. It's just very lackluster defense. And I think the main aspect of it was that Mystic Flare. He tried to cast it on him while his target was in the air because of Burrow Strike, and that messes up where he's actually positioned as far as the three-dimensional outlay in your current camera angle. So he ends up just completely missing a target that was stunned for a long duration, and the Mystic Flare not going to be doing too much this time around. I still like his build-up going into Urn of Shadows here is going to give him a lot more mana sustainability, and when they actually get some kills behind them, more than just the 3 we've seen, then they're going to be able to really profit from that. But at least for the moment, they're still looking for something more. They're looking for one more level on the Sand King. They're looking for Blink Dagger on the Magnus, and at this point in the game, you don't want to be like, okay, well, soon we'll be good. We want to be good now. You want to be able to deal with the current threats that are on the board, or you're going to get run down very quickly.
We've seen Banana at level 6 for a long while now, hoping to get something done here, having died in that engagement. He's 1-1 right now. Looks like they will find Jakira. Should be level 7. This time the Mystic Flare will land, but just barely on the edge, and now they've got Epicenter online. So they wish they could have had it a bit earlier to defend those towers. Instead, they lose all their tier 1s. The tier 2 top has fallen as well in that last exchange. Hardly an exchange, though. Pretty much just robbery here from LAI Gaming, as they're sitting very, very nicely in this game. XDD, point booster on the Razor. We'll be looking for that Ag, so just sort of the standard build here on the Razor. And here we go, pushing into another tier 2. This one very, very low. Glyph of Fortification is available, but will they even use it? Nether Toxin damage and Treants are here, and well, no one last hits it, so Newbee feeling good about that, I suppose.
Yeah, right now, no, I mean, at this point, I'd actually prefer to have the gold just distributed, because you get your Earthshaker blink up that much more rapidly, and just everybody gets that. Obviously, there's technically less gold in general, but the few extra coins that you gain when you can just give it to the entire team and make sure everybody's buffed up, I think is still kind of a decision you can actually make favorably. But now look at this Ancient stack. They took too long to claim it. The Empower isn't even skilled on the Magnus. Why stack it if you're not going to skill the Empower? They scouted it with Sunstrike, but can they contest it? They need the Skewer RP into Epicenter combo. Even then, it's going to be a hard hold. Most of the Ancients have... Okay, not even most, but a significant chunk of the Ancients have already been killed off.
They will find Howl. He's trying to farm with the Radiant Jungle. Howl's going to jump away. Doesn't want anything to do with that. So yeah, a lot of those Ancients are brought down. And maybe we see Empower come out at level 9 here for Rabbit, as I guess F equates to pause.
I suppose so. There's no other way to interpret that, so we'll go with it.
He's very upset that he has to pause. F! Pause!
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Newbee, they've got a difficult high ground. I mean, they have great high ground defense. LAI Gaming is still going to have to do a lot of work to breach that high ground. Void finishing up the Mask of Madness, and hopefully the Empower comes out soon to get Void online a little bit earlier. So great Chrono potential, Epicenter potential, a little bit of Rat Dota even from the Invoker here. Skywrath, obviously, that synergy. I like to call it the mini Chronosphere, the Mystic Flare. So he can pick out any single target in that Chrono. They just need it to sync up, and, well, they've got one more shot at defending a tier 2 if they want to fight outside their base, but I think Newbee may be just going to wait to fight on their high ground and look for that perfect fight to sort of bring this game back. They're a little behind right now, almost, we'll say 5.5k gold behind. XP, though, Newbee only 1,000 behind. LAI Gaming feeling pretty good in this game, I would have to assume.
Yeah, but all the same, Newbee has tons of comeback potential on this team here. They did lose out on the Ancients quite a bit. They're losing out on the towers, and the gold is certainly going to be in favor of LAI, but just one or two big fights for Newbee, and they are completely back in this game. Blink Dagger on Magnus is going to be the most important aspect of that, I think, but we'll have to see if he's able to farm that up pretty close to it. 300 gold off, so it should be manageable considering it looks like LAI are taking a breather just for this moment, but where they should push in the tier 2 within the next 3 minutes because they have this great lane observer ward up behind the tower, and that's going to enable them to really guarantee the more successful fight. It means that Sand King has to smoke his epicenter so that they don't just run from it the second it comes out, or maybe even worse, put his blink dagger on cooldown in the midst of it. So yeah, Banana
Shaker's going to be looking for that, definitely.
Banana will have to be very careful, but in the meantime, XZ just hasting forward on the move, forcing a TP back, and they actually cancel it with the Fisher. A great pickoff and an almost guaranteed tier 2 now. Yeah, every ultimate would have to be committed to hold this, and it's just not worth it. It really, even with the Blink Dagger, it's really a hard sell. XCT has this Blade Mail up, and although we talked plenty about this build, there are some drafts it's great against, and some maybe the active doesn't matter too much. But in this draft, I think it's huge. You see the RP, the Chrono, or the Burrow Strike coming, hit the Blade Mail, and you return a ton of incidental damage from a lot of abilities like the Epicenter and the Mystic Flare.
Yeah, I always kind of assumed the Blade Mail was just for the efficiency of the damage. That 32 damage you get on Nature's Prophet from it is pretty nice. But here we go, Chrono out onto XDD. Look at how getting outside of that Chrono because of that Ice Path, then getting caught by a Fisher, not able to find any damage there. Banana gets off a full Epi, it doesn't kill a single person. How is going to fall here on the Void now? San Sheng onto the Skywrath, and we've got that Echo going out, and that will take out the Sand King. The buyback's available on everybody right now, but,
yeah, but they only have
all those ultimates are all used. Yeah, only RP up right now, and well, Invoke is available here for the Invoker, as he will drop the Deafening Blast Meatball combo, but the tier 3 tower will fall, and LAI Gaming feeling good enough about just getting that, and well, maybe not going to back off. They spawn more Treants and look to be, you know, furthering the push. Alright, the Storm just coming off of cooldown, and there's a big RP going to skewer him back after that Shockwave. Everyone very, very close together right now, but he will still fall. Yeah, maybe if the Meatball was there on top of that one, that would have been quite a bit better, but Mu is going to fall once more, this time without buyback. No buyback there on the Magnus. And are they going to back off this? They're getting pretty low on mana. Eye of the Storm running out relatively soon, and Banana will fall there again to the Eye of the Storm, but now the Razor finally going to take a death, as it's 13-7. How looking to clean up, and we'll get the bash there in XTT. Wow. Nicely done. It is a 4-2-4 build already for Hal, so 25% chance on that time lock. And they get a couple kills for their troubles, but sustaining heavy damage. Maybe if LAI Gaming just focused this range barracks, they would have got it. But
oh, yeah. I mean, the Siege Creep's almost got it right now. Cardi's going to town on it. 300 HP remains, but yeah, it's a hold at the very least. That's something that they need to just take solace in at this point in the game, because the reverse polarity was essentially just a delay tactic. They didn't have the damage follow-up. They got some good shockwave skewer damage on it, but the RP itself doesn't hit that hard. So the fact that they were able to get LAI a little bit uncomfortable, force them to retreat, and then obviously with heroes like Void and Sand King pursue them to the ends of the earth, they were able to get some major kills. Viper gives an unstoppable streak for a ton of gold over to the Sand King, so he's going to have a 4-staff up very early on, and obviously Hal was able to profit from that quite substantially, looking for his BKB or Maelstrom. So in this position, they are significantly better off than they were before, and still the racks stand. But LAI looking to get aggressive once more. Don't want to let up on the gas pedal, and Mu is going to be the forfeit.
yeah, and I think the biggest thing about the defense is not a single buyback was used, which is a really big deal at this point in the game. You know, you're buying back in 19 minutes, you're really slowing down your item progression, which is extremely important. I mean, Death slowed down a little bit too, but not as much as buybacks. Now XDD and XZ here into the middle lane with an Eye of the Storm, trying to get through this backdoor protection right now, and it looks like they've got it here.
Yeah,
Lower the skits, Nether Toxin kicks in, and they will go through it. I don't think they're getting through the melee backdoor protection and regen as well. Rabbit is around, RP up again, and I think LAI Gaming, having killed quite a few members of Newbee even a few times in that fight, were a little bunched up. There was a 5-man RP. Obviously, they weren't too worried about it because none of the follow-up was there, but if that happens again, 5-man RP, Chrono Epi, like, LAI Gaming is going to disappear off the map.
I like the slow siege here. Just super going for the liquid fire, a few treants hitting the melee racks as well. It means they don't have to commit into these big AoE cooldowns, but it leaves you vulnerable to that skewer. Nice movement from the Magnus, but an even greater follow-through from the Earthshaker.
It was a nice follow-up, but they get him in the end. They stun him up, and they will drop the Mystic Flare. Now XDD going to be giving up his life, and LAI Gaming losing 3, so Newbie still holding on very nicely. They lose that ranged Rax. It's not the biggest problem to lose. It's still quite early, even losing a ranged Rax, but at least it's just one creep that's going to have that gold value halved. But it will push out the lane, allowing Newbee to always sort of have that lane in this area, and we'll find pretty much all the farm, while LAI Gaming might not be getting really anything out of that lane if it's always pushed so far.
Yeah, and now we see the Empower at work, finally cleaning up the same stack. 21 minutes in, that's about on the timer I was expecting, so at least finally being able to profit from it and getting the full BKB as a result. Earthshaker getting very, I would definitely say overzealous here. The Echo Slam was great, it was on the creep wave and it did a lot of damage, but with the choke point that is created out of the Dire Staff, so you're trying to just broach in that territory, you're going to be walking into guaranteed Chronos and guaranteed reverse polarities. So up against those 3 big ultimates the Newbee had, even the Mystic Flare, I guess, has some zone denial components. So overall, they didn't want to commit. Earthshaker did, and although his individual usage of skills was impactful, it actually put them in an exposed position. Still, they're relentless. They'll force out the fortification. They have CD ultis on CD for a moment longer. 20 seconds on Chrono is the big one here. So the racks will fall. Rabbit finds a skewer pickup onto XZ, though.
Yeah, I still think LAI Gaming are going to be pretty happy with that. They get a BKB charge at a house, so that's a 10-second charge. Even though BKB isn't going to be, you know, the answer to everything here, just because he still has to worry about the physical block of the Fisher. But at least they get the kill there on that core Viper. That Viper third in net worth, 9.9k. Void on target with that as well, and Razor just a little bit ahead at 10.2. But LAI Gaming feel very, very pressured to end this game. So it's great for them they got this middle racks, although will that even be enough? If they get wiped a couple times, maybe they get put on tilt, if I can use that term. And Newbee Gaming, obviously, all of these members playing in TI4 on the big stage. 4 of them, the victors of TI4. So their mid-game, late-game decision-making might rival that of LAI Gaming's.
Yeah, might be able to really triumph in those states, especially since they do have the scaling heroes. But I think the big question is the potential for Roshan from both sides. That's going to be what really defines the next 10 minutes of the game, is movement into the pit, about the pit. Can they get the pick off to initiate on Rosh? And can, like, if Newbee lose a hero or two, can the LAI still feel confident going into it? Because, honestly, that is the perfect setup for all these abilities. Actually, Banana going for a solo on the bottom, but he doesn't blink very quickly, and the Force Staff away! XTT mitigates a ton of the damage, and there's the Echo Slam. The Enchant Totem. Banana falls solo with the Blade Mail ticking away.
Blade Mail.
Staff, the blink, he's actually going to be able to get out. No, the Enchant connects. The Aftershocks, and the death of the Sand King, wasting a lot and gaining pretty much nothing. That actually could be enough to open up Rosh.
Yeah, it could be, and we see XTT with I guess a bit of a twist on this, going for the Force Staff now after that Blade Mail. Again, intelligence, 10 damage coming out from that, and of course, the survivability that it gives you, being able to dodge that burrow. I'm not sure if that was a sick play by XTT, or if Sand King was maybe a little slow throwing out that burrow. Either way, it doesn't work out for Sand King.
He did not shift Q blink a burrow strike. He kind of did it like a manual cast after he was sure that the channel was over, but nevertheless, if that's how the chips fall, then XCT will be happy to just gobble them right up. So now they're going to be moving up out, it looks like towards the top of the map. Like XZ was already here. I was really like hype off of that counterplay, so I was like, okay, well maybe they can turn it into something, but in reality the Viper was nowhere nearby, so they couldn't really force an issue on bottom lane or Rosh. They kind of just keep the farm going, wait out the next epicenter, and maybe make it kind of a little bit of a slow siege on the top.
Yeah, and Viper tanking up, goes for the very common Aghanim Scepter. The incredible range, 12-second cooldown on the Viper Strike is going to be great. It will also go through magic immunity, so even if Void's BKB'd up, throw the Viper Strike on him, it will still slow through all of that. Not that that matters inside of the Chronosphere, but before and maybe afterwards, that Chrono XZ can still affect the Void, definitely. Also very tanky, so not as susceptible with his HP pool right now. The Corrosive Skin, magic resistance, going to be still hard to kill this Viper. Pending some very good skewers, which we've seen quite a few from Rabbit, getting people all the way back to the tier 4 with that 1200 distance on rank 4 skewer. It's 15 to 12. Re-kill advantage for LAI Gaming. How has taken over the net worth charts, leading at 12.1k, the Razor at 11.6, and in the 10ks, Viper and Nature's Prophet. The graphs overall got up to maybe about a 10,000 gold lead for LAI Gaming, stopped a couple times in the middle lane. They do eventually get the racks, but a 5,000 gold lead now, and it's actually Newbee ahead in XP here by 3,000. still a very, very tight game.
Yeah, most definitely. But I don't know. Like they blink skewers are kind of like a Batrider lasso as far as like being able to pick somebody up and pull them out of position. So it can be extremely impactful. But now that LAI have a couple of force staffs up their sleeves and they obviously know how to use them, they should be able to disengage from those difficult situations more aptly. So we'll see a little bit more observer ward control come out from them. Trying to kind of just put pressure out on right outside Newbee's base. But in the end, there's going to be some sentry battles up for Sunshine. He probably isn't even going to bother finishing off that sentry. There's no value in it. So here, just they don't feel fully comfortable in their own jungle. They're trying to get sentries out to regain control, but for now, it's Nature's Prophet's playground, and that gives more efficient farm to LAI Gaming. Even though Newbee have the better late game, they have to fight for it, because right now, Hao's the only one with, like, legitimately respectable net worth.
Yeah, he's got the BKB, now he's finished up that Crystallis. Razor also, XTD, going for a BKB as well after his Ags, and started everything off with the Phase Midas. And you're talking about the wards. That Sentry battle, and looking at that, we've got a gem was purchased up. Who did it actually go to? They throw it over to XZ, probably the tankiest of them all for LAI Gaming. So he's holding onto the gem, and mostly going to be using them for pushing, but can deward Mu with his Necronomicon 3. So we could see both teams playing blind, and I would be scared to play without vision against either of these lineups. There's a lot of pickoff potential on both. A little bit more Wombo, I'd say, on the side of Newbee, but...
But yeah, LAI are still just like they're showing that they don't want Newbee to get any real potential to come back into this game. They're going to be crushing their farm routes. They're going to be warding up their enemy territory, and I really think that the amount of map control they get out of this Geometry site is going to make it very difficult for Newbee to approach this. Like if they just get like an observer ward on the secret shop area, then they're going to be able to consider Roshan very early. It looks like they're already doing so, but there's no way they actually commit for this. The smoke just came out. Everybody's missing from Newbee, and that would be suicidal.
The Necros and Forge Spirits up, going to maybe run into the pit first just to scout things out, although the smoke doesn't break when you go across your own secret shop, so they know that no one's in there. LAI Gaming were close, maybe thinking about it, but quickly decide to head top, and it's actually Newbee that's smoking completely right now. Banana going to get to a nice position here on the high ground, and the pings come out from purple. XZ Viper, he definitely knows something is up here, but it's so fast with the Forge Spirits armor reduction. And
oh, they don't reduce.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, but still, 74 damage. That's nice.
Yep, they still take it down very quickly. The Mask of Manus, the crit on the Void, he has a lot of DPS behind him, and yeah, they're able to just clean it up. Also, LAI don't really have a great way of just like scouting into the pit. They can throw the Treants, but the XTT's up on the top lane, and just throwing in random spells puts you rather vulnerable to the skewer in that we were talking about before. So if you get blink skewered into the pit and then hit by a Burrow Strike, you're already dead by the time you hit the ground. So yeah, dangerous to try to approach it after they threw a couple of shots Roche's way. In the end, a very, very timely Roshan coming out from Newbee as they smoke out of their base, and that's what will give them the edge in the next fight. This Aegis of the Immortal up on the glass cannon he faces Void. Like, BKB does give him good tank, but the Mask of Manus, the Daedalus, that's where most of his net worth is at, and man, it is going to be just absolutely absurd how much damage he can do with this Empower.
I mean, honestly, he's not that fragile. He's got 15 armor, 1600 HP. I mean, he's looking pretty good, and obviously the two lives are going to be the big deal. XZ finished up a Blink Dagger on that Viper, so he can pretty much initiate from 2 full screens away, but not if Faceless Void jumps in first, throws out the Corona. Will pick up the Earthshaker, so it's definitely the target he's looking for, just picking off that Earthshaker, the one who can mess up the most. RP coming through, stunning through the magic immunity of the Razor. He will go down. How with a double kill, 2-man burrow from Banana with the Epi on the backside of this. Now Skewer coming through. All 4 for LAI Gaming will fall in this engagement. Newbee don't lose a single thing. The gem is on the deck, so LAI Gaming giving up that as well. Aegis not even used, and now things have turned around completely for Newbee Gaming, and that's the reason they were staying in this, of course, after just losing that one lane of racks at about the 20-minute mark.
No, it's huge comeback potential for them. I do like XTT's movement, though. Instead of TPing to Fountain and Panic, he goes ahead, just pushes out the bottom lane, forces them to play defensively, so at most they can take one tier 1 tower out of their victory in the jungle fight. But yeah, still, Newbee really showing that they have a lot of potential to take this game away when it comes down to the late game. The Chronosphere, very on point. How obviously putting out a lot of damage there. But now they are going up against this Sheepstick, and if the XTT is able to get in position for maybe a 4-staff forward into a Hex on target like Faceless Void, they can still find the pick they need to actually bring down Newbee in the long run. The one lane of Rex is great, but they need 2 or 3 to secure the win here, and in order to do that, they need this Faceless Void dead before they actually try to reach high ground.
Yeah, still 3.5 minutes on that Aegis though, so I think Newbee going to want to put that to work. Look to take out maybe the last tier 1 tower here. It's very low actually. Let's jump in, throw the Chrono out immediately onto XDD, who just disappears.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the BKB
gosh.
uses on Void though. Like at most he gets hit by a Fissure and an Ice Path.
Yeah, scared of the Fissure.
But he really needs the BKB for a later time.
Yeah, so sometimes the downside to getting that BKB up pretty early on. And here's the Sheepstick unveiling for XTT onto Rabbit. They will kill him, so it's 1 for 1. I don't know, pretty good. They don't get the tower, but a kill for a kill. Magnus will drop. Who is actually holding the gem? It's on San Shang here, the Skywrath Mage. Very fragile, yet very fast. Although not too fragile. He's got the Urn Up and the 4-staff right now, so they're going to have to do a lot to bring him down. As he looks to look all over the map for some wards. We can see a lot of wards from both teams still. This one probably not going to be dewarded. Awkward place for this point in the game, but a good one, so at least it won't be dewarded. This one's been up forever. About to just run out, and looking at the Dire Vision, as Nature's Prophet will kill Sand King in the bottom lane, but good Dire Vision as well, just defensive in their own jungle.
So we're going to be seeing more and more importance put on a lot of the usage of Moo's abilities throughout the game now. Now that he's putting some points in Wex here, there's some real potential with the the Meter Deafening Blast. More formally known. Yeah. You know, the formal versus the generic. I guess if it's in his voice lines, it's canon, so.
It's definitely canon, yeah.
Well, there you go. Anyways, the combo obviously is there for Moo, and they can certainly follow it up behind either the Void or the Magnus here. So I think there's a lot to say about his usage of skills, but it's more going to come down, I think, again, to pickoffs for LAI, because they have a lot of ways to pick heroes off, as we've seen. They have a Blink Viper with Aghanim Scepter. Absolutely absurd range on that ultimate, and of course the Fissure will stop any retreating TPs. So those two together should be able to find a pick on anybody that doesn't have a Black King bar. But if Newbee are kind of waiting in the wings, they have to be cautious about how they approach even that.
And I feel like they will be waiting in the wings, looking for any bit of a mistake from LAI Gaming. Because Newbee have that, they can do that this game. They can just sit and wait for the mistakes. They've lost the lane of Rax, but not really too affected by it. Still finding great farm. Void really starting to put the distance between him and those other heroes. He's 18.3k, 14 is the closest, and that's the Nature's Prophet, who has sold some of those early efficient null talismans to get some bigger items into those slots. 4-staff, that blade mail, of course, from earlier on, and now the Scythe of Vice he's had for a while. We saw him get 1 kill with it, although it was just on Rabbit's Magnus. But another 2,100 gold, and we'll see what he wants to go for as his next item. Maybe, what do you think? Maybe BKB, maybe just the Mjolnir or Maelstrom?
I don't know. It depends if he wants to.
He's got a lot of options.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can build it here. The Blink Dagger is what actually was in my mind. I was considering the fact that it might be too redundant with the 4-staff. Like, I was like, okay, well, if you already have the Force, do you really want the Blink on top of that? But what this enables him to do is actually use the Blink Hex offensively to open up and have the 4-staff to potentially disengage himself, or more importantly, an ally, like the Razor or the Viper. You pull them out of the fight when they're in a really bad spot. Obviously, you can't force through Chrono, but you could force somebody that's hit by an RP or a Skewer. So I still think that having both has its merits, and obviously he doesn't feel it's too redundant. He's going to pick up both.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, if Void jumps on you and you haven't taken any damage, the Chronos cast is, you know, a bit of time on it, so you can blink away if you expect it, which is maybe why he gets it. But the way he's positioned himself, he's just sitting really, really far away, hoping someone gets chronoed. Someone will get chronoed. Maybe the BKB is not up, and he can just blink sheep onto that Void almost immediately. Also, you can play Tinker style. You can just go to the lanes, blink into the trees, spawn some treants, drop your, well, it doesn't have a Necro, but if he did, drop that Necro and push out the wave.
I think the Hex is going to be all the more important against Void now that he's going to be approaching this Butterfly. He's got it at an extremely fast timing, and yeah, this Faceless Void is getting absolutely immense, almost to 1v5 potential if they don't get the Hex before the BKB. Still 7 seconds on the Black King bar, as he has used it quite a few times. It's a decent amount of time, but I think like if he was at like 8 or 9 seconds, he'd feel a lot more confident in this game. Like he could guarantee the game almost if he had like a 9 second BKB right now.
Another Blink Dagger.
Yeah,
For the
that
Razor.
one I'm more questionable about. Like the Viper, I like the Blink on the Furion, I like, and I play enough ARDM to know that Blink can go pretty much on anyone. But yeah, he's gonna have to really make it worthwhile with getting the static link for as long as possible.
Yeah, so the only one without a blink right now is Jakiro. Definitely the clunkiest hero on the team. At least he's got a 4-staff. He's got the Earnest Shadows. Pretty much the same exact items mirrored up on the Skywrath for Newbee. The kills even this game, 17-17. It's line gaming. With an early Rax, they took it about 20 minutes. So 16 minutes. In those last 16 minutes, it's been mostly Newbee defending. You can see here from the graphs, the 18-20 minute mark, Live Gaming very far ahead. Now we're back down to even, so that's if you're just joining us. Bottom lane, though, we're going to have XCT and some trouble. 2-man RP from Rabbit, nicely done, as looks like they were trying to maybe pick off Hal, or rather Newbee perhaps jumping on them. As, yeah, 5400 not getting out of that. It's Hal with the double kill, and that might just be enough for Butterfly and almost having buyback.
Yeah, so he does have the unreliable goal for the Talisman Evasion, and very close to buying out for the quarterstaff as well. So yeah, at this point, it's got to be LAI to make something incredible happen, because these Blink Daggers are not going to give them a stake in the late game. Like, they can go ahead and be mobile and they can open up the pickoffs, but if they don't get map control, if they don't get any kind of vision because of the Sancheng gem that they fed away, I don't know. I don't see them finding that opening, even with the massive amounts of mobility that they obviously have. XDD might be able to dodge out of an incoming burrow strike. I don't know. Like, I really think that they're investing too much in just trying to move forward and trying to control positioning, and they need to actually get a little bit of damage behind them, because at this point, you have the Hex to kill Void once, but you have absolutely nothing for that second life, and obviously with the dire side, Newbee are just going to take that rush for free.
Yeah, they take a big risk when Newbee go for that first Rosh about roughly 10 minutes ago. They smoke in. Live Gaming were pretty close by, but didn't quite realize it until it was too late.
Oh, they get the gem. That's nice.
Oh, yeah, they get the gem back, the pick off there, and that's where your Blink mobility comes into play. They find Sancheng, they get him down, but it's just a Skywrath. He's got buyback, might not even need to use it here. Prob 40 seconds on that respawn. Invis coming up for a Hal, so I guess it's very, very fortunate that XZ's got that gem once again.
Yeah, so the Razor really still needs a refresher, honestly, to continue to be very active in this game, but I don't think they're worried about progression right now. They want to force an issue and try to, it looks like, force high ground. It's a very risky proposition, though. They know the Invoker's currently down bottom, or he was very recently, but as far as actually going into it, it's so difficult. How? Going forward, looking for the big Mask of Madness play, but leaving himself susceptible to perhaps a Blink Sheep. Looks like they're just going to go down bottom, look for that opening onto Invoker, and find it they will.
He's got BKB TP. He's going to BKB up and actually fight. I don't know if that was the right call. The different units might be able to bring down XTT, positive earn charge, though, and the Ice Paths to stop the Necros from chasing, and XTT will live, able to TP out of there. So that's a 10-second charge used there on the BKB from Invoker. Obviously, really wanting to fight that and try to go 1-for-1. I'm not sure it's worth the 10-second charge, but too late now.
Yeah. Most definitely. Now they're losing map control. Right now, as far as Dire Observer Ward, there's absolutely nothing up but that on the plateau. And it looks like Sancheng is going to clearly state that this is their hill to claim. So they'll go back to the good old Sentry Wards. Not as cost efficient as that gem, obviously, but still worthwhile for getting back what they can out of the map, and in general making sure that Void can start actually branching out towards its jungle in the top lane to farm. Still, I'm not sure if he needs all that much more farm. Like, empowered up, he is just absolutely insane when it comes down to his scaling potential right now. He only has, he can upgrade to the BOTs and pick up one more item, and then he's essentially 6-slotted. The Mask of Madness can technically be sold long-term for like a Mjolnir, but for right now, he's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. 368 CS in just 40 minutes. He's got 4K in the bank, 8, 2, and 6 right now, so a fantastic KDA as well. The best in the game currently. Viper with the next best after that, 7, 3, and 7. And for blinking up aggressively, or time walking up aggressively, forcing the blink out from the Viper Hal, taking those ancients away. So he's starting to pretty much create space a little space bubble everywhere he goes on the map. People just sort of having to run away. He looks again for the Viper, and they find him. This could be the gem back. He's taking damage, so he can no longer blink. BKB will go out. That would have been a questionable skewer had it pushed him over the edge. It doesn't. Deafening Blast. Also a bit of a risky spell to use there. So close to the edge, but they kill him. And they will get the gem back, throwing it onto Rabbit on the Magnus.
So just in a good position to continue this pickoffs. Hao is really fearless here. Like he's like, okay, I'm not worried about your Hex. I'm not worried about anything. I'll push down mid lane completely blind. Doesn't matter. He is very confident in where he's at right now with his Aegis, and when he knows when he comes back with that second life, he's going to be huge. But I love this specific decision. So many carry players will refuse to do this, but he sells his Mask of Madness and buys a Town Portal Scroll. That is game-breaking decision-making right there. The Faceless Void, able to teleport back when maybe the Furian's trying to rat it out or something like that. It allows him to be on their side of the map in full, and although he obviously doesn't have as much kill potential, he's got a Daedalus and a Butterfly. This guy's going to kill anything he needs to anyways,
Yeah,
and the fact that he can
alacrity.
Town Portal home is pretty huge.
Here we go, they're trying to bring down Hao. Hao honestly doesn't care. He is giving Razor a lot of damage. Hao's going to time walk away. Hasn't even died yet, so now doesn't even have to use the Aegis, and that's just how hard that guy is to kill with that evasion up there. 112 damage taken by the Razor, but a fight's not going to ensue afterwards, and Hao will just go straight into the top lane. Start to push that out with this Empower. Didn't even have to go for the Battle Fury, and that Empower has definitely enabled him to farm very, very fast this game. Already 404 at last hits. Looking at just the last hits right now, which you don't generally do at this point of the game, but 404, Invoker's second, same team, Moo, 250, and then Nature's Prophet at 245. He's almost doubling these guys.
Yeah. I guess it's worth noting that XCT's CS is pretty low considering he is a Nature's Prophet, and that's the lack of farm-oriented build. He doesn't have like a Maelstrom picked up here. He isn't really farm-focused at all. Like no Midas, no Maelstrom, just nothing to clear out the creep waves efficiently. And the end result is that he's really great at finding those openings in the team fights with the Hex, with the I guess counterplay with Blade Mail a little bit. But the bottom line is that he is not going to be able to reach critical mass at nearly the timing that Newbee have. No Veil of Discord, just going to be a Sand King BKB actually, but that might be enough for him to just stay active, maybe go for a Burrow Strike before the Epi instead of the other way around, and you can just really be more active with your abilities with that kind of an item pickup.
Yeah, back to the Nature's Prophet. I mean, I saw that the Null Tally Blade Mail build work out quite a few times in Starladder Americas the other day, but in China, well, and the way the game's looking now, it's looking to start off day 2 here in Starladder China 0-2. Ice didn't have much luck with it. The last game, XTT doing much better this time, playing not quite as crazy aggressive. He's 4-4-11. But yeah, it's not been the best day for Nature's Prophets with this sort of new school, possibly very, very old school build.
Yeah, I'd say it's a difference of disciplines. Newbee are not going to be going and just throwing out their spells willy-nilly for the Blade Mail to eat them up. As well, the game goes a lot later, where this very active early game build won't be as relevant. Yeah, that's one great thing about Blink Dagger is you're able to dodge out things like Skewer and Chrono so damn easily. So it's almost worth it just to avoid Chronosphere at all times, but like I said, it still negatively impacts XDD's carry potential. Anyways, Banana's going to be enough to just repel the Nature's Prophet for the moment on bottom lane, and yeah, he's got BOT, so he can always be on the front lines as well as defending on the back. With that potential to move across the map globally. We're actually going to see some movement into the enemy jungle here. Yeah, the game has just gone too late for Furion to really feel like his build has been that worthwhile. If he had 600 CS right now and had like the full arsenal of items, then maybe he'd really have a good spot in this game as far as his right-click damage potential. Maybe he goes like MKB plus Daedalus plus Hex plus all these things. But right now, he can't really survive if he gets hit by a single spell, and he hasn't been farming very actively. So again, they're still looking for pickoffs. They're not going to win this game just by farming it out. Not against Reverse Polarity and Chronosphere.
Yeah, I mean, even if they miss one, they still have a potential 5-man disable on 2 heroes right now. Even the Epicenter hits it quite a bit. So great AoE team fight with all these big ultimates. The Chrono, of course, probably the best. No damage, but with Faceless Void inside. And yeah, there's the blink daggers. Like you said, everyone picking them up. It's so hard to find a kill with those
With Void
initiations that
Top.
don't do any damage. Yeah, but Rabbit now in trouble. Has used RP, didn't get anything out of it, and will fall. Has buyback available. They're turning this around. Ghost Scepter up. Surviving for a little bit, but putting the distance between him. Plasma Field coming through onto that Ghost Scepter. Doing a good chunk of damage. So Newbee lose 2. But the man of the match right now, Hal, still just farming it up. And as chat pointed out, Chat's on the ball today. This Helmet of the Dominator now coming out. So getting back up into that lifesteal here as he sold the Mask of Madness. Now he's got the Boots of Travel, so he's, you know, freed up a slot for TPs, and he looks to be turning that into the Satanic, and honestly can do it now and still have buyback, so...
Yeah, so the big deal there was his BOTs were on cooldown, so when he tried to initiate on the Nature's Prophet, he said, okay, well, I can dodge you, I can immediately teleport down bottom, and they find another
with
pick.
the Echo, Ice Path, everything, and they kill him 100 seconds on that respawn as he's already level 24. Buyback, though, is available, and yeah.
They can force it through base, or they can just force it through Roche. They don't know it. Obviously, we have a better insight into the timer, but the Roche is going to be respawning very, very soon here, and we'll see them 35 seconds from now, being able to pressure not only the base, but also the Roche pit. And one way or another, this Void is going to have to buy back.
He really does not want to, but now this tier 3 tower is taking a lot of damage. There's that Deafening Blast Meteor combo, which... a little bit of deja vu there. We saw potential for a rampage with a meteor, but it was off of cooldown because of just clearing the creep wave with it. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case. They will back off, and they will go for Roche. If they go for Roche, I don't think that forces the buyback here from How. He obviously could buy back and stop it,
Look
but
at this, look at the pits.
Really
Earthshaker just left, and it's about to spawn. If they only knew that they were seconds off, that would be a free Roche for them. No, Newbee wouldn't be able to buy back and get into the fight so easily. But now the Sunstrike scouts it out. They know it's an empty pit. I mean, I don't know. Like, the Necro Warriors are up. The Fort Spirits are up, so I guess he could buy back BOT into it if he needed to. But all of this is just a moot point because they didn't see the Roche in the first place. They're not able to take this cheese. It's going to go to Newbee again, and you can't... I mean, they already got one nice little pick, but Newbee have so much more room for error every time they get Roshan. So at this point, they're going to have buyback and Aegis on a Void. And LAI, they can't let them force the pit, but it's so hard to fight against it.
Yeah, and the only hero to sort of keep vision after the fact for LAI Gaming is Top, so he didn't have the Treants. Now he finally sends the Treant in, so they realize the Roshan is up. They don't quite realize yet how close that really was to changing the game for them. Instead, it's Newbee, of course. Oh, gosh. Newbee, of course, we're going to look to take it, as I am dying.
There's the Satanic. As long as he doesn't have any single target spells to cast on Razor, so there's no way this is getting purged off. He can just go ahead and lifesteal to his heart's content. And yeah, the only thing is a perfect chain of disables. But even then, with Backtrack, his 25 armor and his 2350 of HP, this guy is going to be nearly impossible to bring down, even in the duration of a Hex. They'd have to like literally use every single stun they have in perfect conjunction while all 5 focusing him in order to actually prevent him from getting out.
Well, there's the Hex to start things off, the Ice Path, everything, but he will be forced out by a teammate. Echo comes out from 5400 just to stun him up a little bit longer, but now he throws out the ultimate. He had a lot of his damage taken away right here, but the Epi from Banana as well helping out there. Buybacks here by the Earthshaker, by the Nature's Prophet. How, though, still chasing on the backside. We see Rabbit fighting XZ, and it looks like they will get him. Super is not going to live much longer, I don't think, against that Void, even with most of his damage taken. The 4 staffs across to get XZ. And looks like that will find him. I want to see it, but Void's killing everyone else on the other side. Hal picks up a triple kill. Even with max zoom out, we can't catch it all. So, apologies. I blame Newbee as they're going into the pit now to finish out this Roche.
Yeah, but no, I mean, that's just the fight got very spread out. The Magnus didn't even need to use his reverse polarity in this. And like I said, it's that Satanic pickup that just gave him enough tank. They could throw every spell in the book at him, and he still survives long enough to get the BKB and get the Satanic. Earthshaker maybe not the best chrono target, but he really just used him as a source of life. He actually just, like,
yeah, pretty much
was vampiric in his nature. They're just Chronosphere him and just, like, giving me my entire health bar back. And there you go. Full HP Void, able to dominate a long, elongated team fight with, of course, his allies at his back. They were able to just kind of pursue, get tons of kills. I think they got a dieback out of it on... No, The Earthshaker and the Nature's Prophet, the two that bought back, did live, but
Mm-hmm.
even still, it was a costly exchange for LAI, and they didn't even prevent the rush.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Nope, and yeah, How with that lifesteal doing a lot. Even after like 100 so damage taken away from How, he was still hitting for about 176. I think he lost almost all of his bonus damage there, but had most of his base.
fortified.
Still enough with the 125% lifesteal, or 175% lifesteal, excuse me. To get his HP back up as he looks to sort of pressure this tower, but XTT on this Nature's Prophet, not going to go down easily, being very, very annoying. Picks the wrong direction. Banana with that Burrow Strike trying to find the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, soon enough is going to have to be an all-in play from LAI, where they have to go for the tier 4s instead of caring about the top or bottom lane. Like, at this point, there's no value in taking the top and bottom lane of Rax. The Void can just clear it out. If he has to buy a Mjolnir, he will, but... Or maybe go for, like, a 7 slot, where you just switch in and out your items, whether he waits for the Aegis
Double
or not.
couriers.
Exactly, but, like, right now, like, even if they took a top lane of Rax, it wouldn't put LAI back in this game. What they need is... They need to just go for the throne when they have the opening, but that opening is so hard to create. The Void is extremely tanky. And even this MKB on XZ might not be enough. They'll certainly try. They've got 2 hexes now. One on Razor, one on the Furion. Man, that Razor needs a refresher. Refresher, Eye of the Storm, and double hex would be huge. But for now, they're just going to take what they have, and hopefully it's enough to bring down How.
Alright, the space creating abilities are dropped there. The Fissure, the Ice Path, but it's not really stopping Hal whatsoever from bringing down that tier 3 tower. He'll look on the ranged barracks first just to be safe. He gets 4-step forward into his Sheep. On the backside of that, though, we see no RP even used, and they will actually just bring down the Viper. I'm not sure how they got him out of the base, but here comes Hal, BK being up, looking for his Chrono. He's sheeped once more. He's got that lifesteal, of course, and he'll just, alright, I'll use Chrono. I'll just go back onto the racks, exactly what he does, and they will get it. So here at 52 minutes, they've been 32 minutes in this game without their own middle lane of racks, but finally they're going to make things right as they even things out in terms of, I guess, lane equilibrium with both middle racks down.
Yeah, and
Cheese and Age is still available.
Viper got caught out by the Blink Skewer, actually. Rabbit pulled him out of the
this
base
way.
with that, and damn, that is so damn good for just creating this full siege opportunity where essentially this guy that is your only real source of damage against the Void is just not able to contribute anything to the fight. So kind of desperation right now for LAI. XCT is going to go top lane, but they're perfectly happy to trade this lane of Rax for their victory.
I think we might be going on How Cam right now. They've got, no Echo available for 70 seconds. It was using that engagement. A good skewer out again onto XDD this time here. How throws up his BKB. Moo as well on the Invoker. How leaps forward, and XDD will fall on the backside of that buyback immediately as the Viper also going to respawn. So those things sync up nicely. A couple TPs forced back. San, Sheng, and Banana have to leave to try to help out How jumping away. Nature's probably thinking about jumping in on the backside of this. That's going to be very, very dangerous, though. It is nighttime at least, so maybe he can hop in out of vision. And that's exactly where he was going outside of that vision as they just sort of pissed off on the high ground. But here we go, RP onto 2, Super and XDD. This was just a buyback right now on this Razor, and now 2 pigs in a Chronosphere, pigs in a blanket, and then a beautiful Fissure coming out from 540. They might actually be able to kill Hal here, but he does still have the Aegis. They'll have to kill him again. XDD taking out 56 damage, not a whole lot. Would like to have more. Hal will jump away. BKB up in 1 second, but just a 4-second BKB. Looking for the Fissure now, and it's a BKB TP, just enough time to get out of there with those boots of travel.
So, yeah, they're not going to be able to take the bottom lane of Rax, but they hold their tier 3 up top, so in the end they don't lose out in the exchange. They don't really get what they wanted out of the Aegis. Like, I kind of feel like Newbee were in a position where they could have just gone for the 5-man throne, but there's no reason to take the risk here. They're in such a commanding position that any form of passive play would guarantee more a substantial victory. We do see up top Banana will get hexed, and the BKB force staff is not going to be enough to speed him away. So they do lose out on the SK, and he's got a pretty elongated death timer, but of course, with almost 7,000 gold banked up, he certainly has buyback.
Yeah, and we got some more sheep sticks coming out. Moo, hero, we didn't pay too much attention to his item progression after that Necro. He did go BKB and then sheep stick there, obviously unveiling it inside of that Chrono. San Shang gonna get caught out, will drop, Gem falls inside the Roche pit. How gonna go in and secure it for the team. XCT will fall there. Rabbit even also skewering over. I think he was trying to bring in the Razor as opposed to maybe just running away. Hard to really tell there, but a couple buybacks, 3 buybacks Sand King, Skywrath, and the Nature's Prophet. How going to jump forward and will whiff the chrono, but get a nice bash for his troubles. Needs the time walk out in 8 seconds. And on the backside of it, we see 5400 taking out Rabbit's Magnus. Immediate buyback there. So a lot of buybacks on both teams. The team fight continues, though. XDD's ultimate Eye of the Storm about to run out, but they will kill Mu and San Shang. Rabbit, of course, with the buyback. How has not gone down now, still holding on to that cheese as XTT. Very, very low. TP's back at the base. He'll be able to rejoin in about 15 seconds.
Yeah, those hexes are actually pretty monstrous. As far as late game items, there's nothing better than a good old Scythe of Ice, maybe a Divine Rapier on a day.
4 of them in this game, 3 for LAI. So they go full mobility with the Blink Daggers, and still even sacrificing a bit of damage. They have a Sheepstick on the Razor, a Sheepstick on Jakiro, and a Sheepstick on XTT. Pretty much the only item you can have as a small answer to this Faceless Void.
Yeah. I mean, if there's 3 items that, like if you're suddenly Dota 2 changed to a 3 inventory slot game instead of 6 inventory slot games, the items with the highest win rate would be Blink Dagger, Scythe of Ice, and BOTs, just because those are so essential as far as moving about the battlefield in general and getting the critical disables to shut down an opponent. Obviously, carries will be weaker with less item scaling too, but let's not get it too far into some very ambiguous veins of thought.
I don't think we're going to 3 item slots anytime soon, so... Rabbit, a Sheep expended there, Viper Strike as well, about half HP. He just bought back, so that would be a very, very big pickoff for LAI Gaming. They don't find it, but really looking hard for it there. And there's How jumping in. He's going to find XDD. There's no static link here, and yeah, XDD down for 15 seconds. Banana look for the Epi BKB up as well onto XTT. Viper hiding up in the tree line / statue line over there. Will be Ancient Seal, Mystic Flare, bring him to about health. Shockwave going to connect now. How shows up with the mace to the face onto XZ. 5400 looking to make the plays, but Fisher's on cooldown right now. He will get the mini enchant totem stun. And RP onto 2 from Rabbit. Bringing them together. They're hugging it out. LAI Gaming. It's a bad touch for LAI Gaming, though.
So there were a lot of buybacks involved. Sand King, Skywrath, and Magnus have both bought back within the past 2 minutes, as well the Nature's Prophet. So there are going to be some on cooldown for this kind of death push Newbee's going to bring to the mid lane here. But yeah, Moo's actually going to go for a nice little sneak play here. He's got his Linked Sphere up. He's pretty confident going in towards the bottom lane. If he just makes sure that the Ghostwalk debuff doesn't show on anyone, then you can actually go for like a Hex play to start off. If they can pick off one more hero, they guarantee the at least second lane of racks, and they're already in a great position in this game, but he just opens up on a Moonwell here, now blinks in for
They're about to be flanked so hard, too. They've got no idea. Moo just shows up with a Sheepstick straight onto the Viper and the Meatball. Boom! Right on top of the Mystic Flare, they get him. 4 down, no buybacks available for LAI Gaming, and this looks to be the end for them. And I mean, they played a fantastic game. They did what they had to do. They forced the issue early, giving up, a couple somewhat of a team wipe, I guess, trying to get the mid racks. And you see the graphs even out, and then... Okay, Rabbit's fountain diving right now as 2 lanes of racks down. Yeah, I mean, well fought for LAI Gaming. 20 minutes, they were looking very, very far ahead. But you knew, with the type of draft Newbee had, it wasn't, enough just to take 1 lane of racks in 20 minutes.
Honeymoon's over for LAI Gaming. Now they face the harsh truth. They just can't scale that well in the late game. They didn't find the pickoff they needed on the How, at least not without him having Aegis at his back. There was one good Void pickoff, but he even had the buyback available if he needed it. They go for the final fight. They turn around here, Banana onto 5400, and even How, he's not really hitting hard, but he's got all these spells from his allies to back him up, so they get the kills anyways, and that's going to be it.
They don't even use Chrono for the last fight. RP for nothing.
On the fountain. You have to
Onto the fountain. You can't kill the fountain anymore, unfortunately. I'm sure Reddit would have a field day if you're getting fountain camped with your fountain kill. That's not a thing anymore. Newbee. And yeah, the GG gets thrown out. LAI Gaming tap out. I mean, LAI Gaming still playing fantastic against one of the best teams in the world. Definitely one of the best teams in China. So for, a team that's sort of just starting out, I know a lot of these guys, I'm sure they've been playing Dota for years, but in terms of a team, I think previously they were New Elements, formed up by, I think, a Chinese caster. So, I mean, they're doing really well.
Yep, doing the best they can. Here, LAI, they've shown strong fights in both their games, but they haven't really come out with the wins, so we'll see them go back to the drawing board a little bit, and I think the really big thing is executing the finisher. They obviously have some great lane presence, some good early fight, and a great understanding that way, but when it comes down to late game, like you said, these are TI4 veterans. They're going to know how to play it out just a little bit more efficiently. So maybe that's the thing that LAI will try to shore up in the future. But for now, Newbee, take the win.
Yeah, I would also say LAI Gaming didn't really prioritize the late game with their draft, and especially with the way they built their Nature's Prophet early. But yeah, I think that's enough. We'll come back with I think it's IG Invictus Gaming versus Tong Fu coming up next. I could be wrong. The overlays will be up in a second with the information, anyways. But before we go here, Starladder, make sure to buy that ticket.